Chair, now recognize the gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Admiral, I saw on your unfunded priorities list that Indo-Pacom believes it needs well over $1 billion more in air and defense, missile defenses. So would you agree that it's an urgent priority for Indo-Pacom to get more air and missile defenses to protect our forces from a potential Chinese missile and air attacks?
Senator or Congressman, if you're talking about the Guam shortfall, I think it's about $430 million is that we've identified for the ability to put the Defense of Guam system in place. That includes both some of the integration capabilities and the military constructions that's required. So I have to go back and look at the $1 billion number and where that is. But I do believe we will absolutely need to provide increased air and missile defense to support both the homeland in the form of Guam, and wherever our forces are operating from, I'm required to protect them. So we will need more integrated air and missile defense.
Understood. So we agree it's an urgent priority. It's clear that we don't have enough air and missile defenses for a fight with China. I think that's my takeaway from the $1 billion unfunded priorities list. Yet we've used well over 100 of these missiles in CENTCOM to shoot down Houthi drones that cost 100 times less than our own missiles, rather than saving them for a potential fight with China. So, Admiral, has the high rate of missiles that we're using in CENTCOM reduced the number of air and missile defense assets that your forces expect to receive next year?
I don't know if I would view it that way, Congressman. I think what I would say is for those missiles coming off the destroyers, those SM-2s are resident in my theater on my destroyers, and we have those. If you're talking about THAAD and Patriot, which, again, is going to be a pretty large portion of what we're going to need to defend air bases and those other places where our forces are, I don't think those have been employed at the large number that would impact me. What I would say is, you know, I commend those sailors and the joint force in CENTCOM that are executing the protection mission against both our forces and those tankers. They are fighting with what they got, and we should never ask them to stop or conserve. What we do have to do is move forward on our directed energy path to be able to get on the right side of this cost curve. So your point is completely valid, but bottom line, mission success there, I would never ask them to restrict what they need to do. But we do need to make sure that the capabilities that I've identified are delivered at a relevant time, and then we ought to accelerate the technologies that get us back in the right place.
Yeah, I appreciate your candor on that, and well put and well understand. Dr. Ratner, has President Biden's failure to deter attacks on forces by Iranian proxies deprived our forces in Indo-Pacom of vital assets that we might need for a potential fight with China, based on what you just heard the Admiral say?
Congressman, our position is that deterrence in the Indo-Pacific is real and strong, and we're doing everything we can to keep it that way.
If we don't have enough air and missile defense assets for one region, how can we expect to be trying to fight in two different regions? I mean, it's an obvious trade-off, right?
Congressman, look, what I would say is reiterate what I said earlier, which is the 2022 National Defense Strategy identified the PRC as the top pacing challenge, and since then, the department has produced the most strategy-driven budgets in its history, including investing $2.3 billion more than last year on Indo-Pacific priorities, upwards of a 20% increase year on year. So we are doing everything we can to focus on the pacing challenge.
All right, thank you. I yield back.